What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel once again, and welcome back to episode 5 of TSGG Gamepass Gold. In today's episode, we're going into Doom from id Software. With Rage 2 coming out, I felt like now was the time to bring you Doom, published by Bethesda Softworks. Hope you enjoy. As always, if you do, leave a like and subscribe, and have an awesome week. Okay, so let's dive right into Doom from id Software. Now, if you don't know, Rage 2 just released this past week, and it is an absolute stunningly beautiful game with super fun and diverse combat, and id Software is the one who, they did all the combat while Avalanche did the whole world or the level design, as it were. So id is kind of known for their combat. And this is the game right here, Doom, that kind of got them known for it. The Bethesda Softworks did publish it, as I mentioned in the beginning, but id is the one that created the entire game that is Doom. So let's dive right into why I think it's an excellent deal for Game Pass Gold, and why it's a very fun game and why you should buy it. Before I actually break down the gameplay, the very first thing I have to mention is that with the game on Game Pass, it does come with all 3 of the DLCs launched for the game. So for the price of Game Pass, which I think is $9.99 or $10.99 right now, you get a full game with all 3 DLCs that were launched, and you can't get a better deal than that. I say it every single time we do one of these. Game Pass is just an incredible deal, and you should absolutely look into it. And these games are meant to kind of show you the value that are there. So I hope you guys do enjoy these videos. But let's get into it real quick. Why do I think Doom is a decent game? Why do I think it's worth the download and play? And why do I think it's worth the 60 gigabits that is going to take up on your Xbox One? Let's dive into fun factor and emergence. And just like Rage, this is where this game really does excel. The combat is diverse and fun, and you're fighting demons, so as kind of the savior or the guardian, Doomguy. And for this is where you really enjoy these types of games. People will look too deep into this. Same thing they're doing with Rage 2, and they're shredding the game because they're looking at it as a shooter instead of what it is, and that is enjoy the immersive, diverse combat and go from there. So if you look at Doom's combat and against demons and the gunplay in this game, it's really second to none, and it's the reason that id Software did get so kind of grown and kind of this was their coming out party, because the gunplay and the combat is second to none. It's fantastic, and it really does add to the fun factor of the game. Especially when you've got stuff like the BFG 9000, where you're just literally shooting kind of a mini nuke into demon spawn and just watching it implode. So it's very, very fun and kind of outlandish combat that they're known for, and it definitely comes through in Doom. And especially once you get into those DLCs that I was talking about, it gets just insane. It gets crazy. Doom, the second one, is actually coming out. Doom Eternal. I don't think it is a second one. I think it's actually it is a sequel, but it is it's going to be its own kind of story. Doom Eternal comes out later this year, so it is a good time to kind of dive into this game. But let's get into the controls and gameplay mechanics. The game, like I said, it's combat and its gunplay is very fun, and anytime that is part of it, you're going to get good control and gameplay mechanics, because if one isn't working well, the other one's not going to work well. They kind of go hand in hand. So it is really, really fun, not buggy, not clunky like some games tend to be with kind of fast-paced, lots of enemies on the screen all at the same time. So you'll notice that it is pretty smooth, kind of snapping between targets and just the kind of firing as a whole. Not exactly sure how Doomguy handles the kind of kick on all these guns at the same time, but you know, he's Doomguy. He can do whatever he wants, I guess. So it is very smooth commands, very smooth controls, and it's kind of what you'd expect, and it's absolutely what you expect from it at this point after Doom. So I really just can't say anything bad about it. The kind of level design is a little bit out of whack, and that is why Avalanche was picked for Rage 2 to kind of supplement each other's really good talents. id with their gunplay, Avalanche with their world design, they go really, really, really well together, and that's why it works for Rage 2. So when we get to that point in the actual graphics, that's going to be our next one. I'm going to skip right over because they just work together so well. It's so smooth, and there's no problems with it that I can complain about. World design, that's where they're a little bit lackluster. as kind of the story of Doom. If you're not aware of it, basically a company figures out that they can make demon energy a renewable resource, except in doing so they open a portal into hell and kind of release demons, which awakens Doomguy. Demons then take over the plant, and hence this is where Doom comes in. So that's kind of the story behind it. So as far as level design goes, you'd expect it to be pretty bleak, dark, red. They've got all the colors kind of toned down, dulled down, I guess is the best way to say it. But at the same time, it becomes very kind of nondescript, I guess is the best way to say it. It's just kind of plain and boring and dull. And I get it that the point is to focus on the combat and the demons and the really different kind of enemies you're fighting over and over that are all different. And I get that, but at the same time, you want to see a kind of a decent looking world, a world around you that it kind of sticks in your memory, I guess. And in this one, it's pretty nondescript. It's just the dull grays and reds and things of that nature. So I can't really say anything great there. As far as graphically, it is a few years ago now. So obviously, since Doom Eternal's coming out, it's a little while ago. So as far as graphically, it holds up to what it should be on the Xbox One. But it's not anything really special. It doesn't really lend itself to be kind of, I guess, a graphically beautiful game. It's, like I said, it's dull, it's dark, you're fighting in hell, I guess. So I guess that might be a little bit of a cop-out, but at the same time, it's just the way it is. You're fighting demons, and you're not really looking at the world around you. So I guess as far as world design and graphically, it's not exactly the prettiest game, but at the same time, it does hold up well for what it is and on Xbox. Moving on from there, the music and sound is pretty well done in the game. It's kind of ominous and dark, just like you'd expect. You can hear the footfalls of Doomguy. You can hear the gunplay is magnificent, and the sounds of the gun are magnificent. So that's where it really does shine. And so I can't say enough about that. But as far as the music goes, it becomes a little bit less of an importance factor. It's just not kind of the focus, I guess. It's ominous, it's dark, and it makes sense with the game. So it's not anything special, but at the same time, it's not really a pull away from it. The sound in the game is way better. The enemies sound ferocious, they sound feral, and they sound scary. That's kind of the whole point of them as demons. Some of the bigger bosses, their roars and things are just really well done, and they do come across as kind of giving you that fear that they're trying to give you, or giving you that kind of apprehension. Like when you walk into a room and you see ammo and health everywhere, and well, okay, I'm going to go fight a boss, and it kind of roars from beneath you, or things like that. You just kind of build up the hype to the fight, and they do that really well in these games. Honestly, I think it's kind of easy for them, because fighting demons, it really lends itself to that. I mean, the whole lore of demons is kind of scary and dark and ferocious. So really, I think it's kind of an easy factor, but they did do a good job with it as far as the sound, so it's no complaints there. Story and replayability, I dove into a little bit with Doom, kind of the behind-the-scenes story of what it is. But when I talk to like my brother, who's played through the game quite a few times and things like that, the story comes second to the actual gameplay. Of course, there is a story. The whole point is Doomguy is attempting to close the portal to hell. So the story itself kind of lends to that, but it's not exactly the focus, I guess, is the best way to say that. The focus is on the combat. It's on the actual kind of getting to that point, and the story comes secondary to that, which I guess I say in a lot of these games that are focused on combat, because they spend so much time in creating the combat or creating the world design around the combat that story tends to lack with these games. The games you really see story shine in is RPGs, kind of that realm. Whereas with these games, the shooters, the story lacks a little bit. If you look at like the Call of Duties, their stories, some of them have been great, some of them have been lacking. It's just kind of, it lends itself to the shooter category that happens. Rage 2, it has a decent story, but just the same, it's getting shredded for that reason. And I kind of keep not complaining, but I kind of keep comparing the two, because this is really where it started. And then when you look at Rage 2, it's kind of their next generation, their next step in the gunplay and design. So if you're looking into Rage 2 and you kind of want to get a feel for it, Doom is on Game Pass. It's got all 3 DLCs for just thrown in, and it's a really, really fun game. Kind of enjoyable combat and kind of the whole fighting demons as the hero. Who doesn't want to do that? So if you want to check it out, it's definitely worth it, and this is why I do recommend it. But that is all I have for you. As always, if you enjoy the video or if it helps you out, leave a like and subscribe. And if it doesn't help you out or you didn't enjoy it, leave a comment on why, and we'll try and get better for you. Have a good week.